Hey guys, Spirit of the Law here. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at and ranking the best camel civilizations in Age of Empires 2. Now, I did a similar video in 2017, but we've actually had a few new civs since then and various balance changes. At this point, there's 13 civs with camels, including 3 that didn't even exist when I made the last video. Since then, camels have been creeping up a bit in terms of power, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, considering the dominance of civs like Franks on the ranked ladder, but it's enough that the civ I would have called number 1 last time is now number 3. We're not going to focus on all of the civilizations with camels though, since while quite a few like Mongols, Chinese, Persians, Ethiopians, Tatars, and Turks have access, and those can be an important tool for them, they don't have any specific bonuses, so I'm not going to be considering them in this list. The Cumans as well have faster moving camels in Imperial Age, but lack heavy camel, so I think they're automatically out of a discussion around the best. That still leaves 6 though, which I'd consider to have some kind of significant bonus, so we'll make this a top 6 video. Just a heads up before we start as well, I'm going to try to be consistent with one color for each civ to hopefully make things a little easier to follow, as there's a lot of comparisons we're going to make pretty quickly against each other, as well as how they all do against knights. So with that, let's start off with number 6, the Byzantines. They're a bit of a mixed bag. On the plus side, they have a 25% cost reduction, giving them the cheapest camels in the game at just a little over 40 food and gold. To give a sense of what that means practically, in Castle Age with equal resources, you can see in this test they can pretty easily handle a generic civilization. The trade-off though is their missing bloodlines and the final attack upgrade. Even with those shortcomings, they can still win if you balance resources against generic heavy camels in Imperial, which again speaks to how strong this discount is. But I think it's fair to say on an individual basis, they're quite a bit below average, just comparing stats. Considering how Byzantines and many civilizations use camels though, I don't think that hurts them too much. They're often a complementary unit sprinkled in against knights, and the discount obviously makes that easier to do. If we're talking about the top camel civs though, we're really looking for camels who pack at least a little more punch. That leads us nicely into number 5, the Malians. Their big advantage is their Imperial Age unique tech Farimba, giving their camels +5 attack. Like Byzantines, they're also missing Blast Furnace though, so in practice it looks more like +3, but that's still pretty good. Combined with the other blacksmith techs they have, that doubles their base attack of 7 all the way up to 14. This is a really nice tech specifically because camels have relatively low attack to begin with, so it's directly addressing one of the major weaknesses of the unit. They do beat Byzantines one-on-one and do better against knights, of course because they have bloodlines and Byzantines don't. Accounting for their different costs though, Byzantines actually had the edge in Castle Age. It's not until Imperial Age with their unique tech that Malians really start to shine, and are obviously much better one-on-one than Byzantines or even generic heavy camels. The extra attack is enough in fact to make them essentially even with Byzantines when resources are accounted for in post-Imperial. And of course there's lots of other side benefits of higher attack when it comes to picking off injured villagers, siege units, and pikemen, etc. Altogether, I think they end with a slight edge, with the major thing holding them back just being how late in the game they start to differentiate themselves, as well as the high cost of Farimba itself. Next up, at number 4, we have the Saracens. Their big advantage is high health, with both a completely passive +10 HP throughout the game, as well as a unique tech for another +20 that they can pick up as early as Castle Age. Extra HP is nice both against other camels, knights, and melee units, letting them perform a bit better head-to-head, but also has the side benefit of letting them hold up a bit better against archers, which camels can often struggle against. One recent change is Zealotry for +20 HP was pushed down to Castle Age, meaning Saracen camels are now exceptionally strong in the mid-game. With that said, their Imperial Age doesn't add anything new, aside from regular upgrades, and it turns out they trade about even with Malians. I'd still give the edge to Saracens though, simply because they have a passive bonus and cheaper tech compared to the Malians' single large tech, and as you can see here in post-Imperial, they end up fighting about the same. I'm not really going to include unique units here, but just to mention it, the Mameluke is also technically a camel unit, and now that it no longer takes bonus damage from skirmishers, I think it's going to be an even more potent option than it was before. Moving over the hump now into top 3, we have the Berbers. Their big camel bonus is a discount at the stable of 15% in Castle and 20% in Imperial. Now that sounds worse than the Byzantines' 25% discount, so it may seem odd to have them higher on the list, but Berbers have a couple of advantages. The first is they're fully upgraded, so unlike Byzantines, you're not missing out on bloodlines or extra attack in the late game. Berbers also have an Imperial Age unique tech for camels that lets them regenerate 15 HP per minute. That's not a huge amount and probably won't swing things mid-fight, but in between fights it'll keep your units in a bit better shape. Testing them head to head, in Castle Age they perform a little worse than Saracens on an individual unit basis, given the Saracens' extra HP. But after accounting for their 15% discount and giving them a corresponding numbers advantage, they end up trading about evenly. The fight can really go either way, depending on pathing, so it's hard to say that one is outright better. Where they start to shine is in Imperial Age, with an increasing discount and, of course, slow regeneration. Saracens are still better one-on-one and slightly better against Paladins, but once you start to factor in the Berber's 20% discount, it becomes very obvious that they have an edge. One way to think of it is Saracens are basically getting 21% more HP than usual, while Berbers are getting 25% more units, so it's not surprising this goes in the Berbers' favor. Of course, remember their Knight line is discounted as well, so Berbers are in a great position to take cost-effective engagements against other cavalry civs, and can even match the Saracens' unique camel unit with one of their own. Next up, at number 2, we have the Hindustanis, previously called the Indians. They've had a big change for their camel riders, which now attack 25% faster. Of course, they've also retained their unique Imperial Camel upgrade, giving +1 attack and +20 HP, with also a bit of extra damage against buildings. Altogether, that makes them very well rounded, and I especially like that 2 of those 3 advantages are completely passive bonuses. In Castle Age, even forgetting about their bonus versus buildings, they pretty easily beat generic camels and do better against knights thanks to faster attack. Giving the Berbers their Castle Age discount, we see Hindustanis can reliably take that fight, though Berbers can make it very close. Remember, camels have a bit of bonus damage against each other, so every extra attack you can sneak in is doing more damage than you might expect. In Imperial Age though, of course you have their unique Imperial Camel upgrade, making them much better against other camels and paladins than we've seen so far from any of the civilizations, including Saracens. In my mind, they're definitely a cut above Berbers in these rankings, and even once the 20% Imperial Age discount is applied, you can see the Hindustanis hold up just fine. In the last camel comparison video I did, I would have placed Berbers ahead of Indians, but the new faster attack bonus has flipped that around. The only thing arguably holding back Hindustanis here is the cost of their Imperial Camel upgrade, which is almost the same price as Imperial Age, so it's not trivial, but the real reason they're not number 1 just speaks to how good the camels of the number 1 civ are. That civilization is of course the Gurjars. When fully upgraded, their camels have 50% larger bonus damage against cavalry and other camels, +4 melee armor, are created faster, and after a unique tech, even end with the same food cost as the Byzantines. In Castle Age, their extra bonus damage lets them beat any other camel, and they perform the best against knights of all the civilizations on the list, while also being able to train camel scouts in Feudal Age to build up their numbers early. Jumping ahead to Imperial Age, after +4 melee armor, they do as well or even slightly better than Imperial camels, and this isn't even accounting for their cheaper cost and faster creation time. Those are just extra things that make them feel even easier to use. Now, yes, there are a lot of expensive technologies to reach their late game potential, but in my opinion, they're the best camels at the moment in Castle Age and have the highest ceiling in Imperial Age as well. To me, that makes them number 1. Those are just my thoughts on the state of camels at the moment though. Big thanks to Jan, Jockster, Yang, Seb, Brian, James, John, Kyle, Connor, Justin, Woodruff, Jean-Paul, Samantha, and everyone else on Patreon for their amazing support. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.